My name is Maya. The first time I had an out-of-body experience, I was about 21 or so years old. Was in bed with my first husband at the time, and it was the morning. I woke up and was just lying in bed next to him. He was asleep next to me. As I was lying there, somehow I stretched like a chewing gum out of my body, weirdly enough, and just sort of floated off, into the corner of the room, and was looking back down onto myself and my asleep husband, which scared me considerably, obviously, because my only experience of or knowledge of stories like that were related to stories that I've heard about people having out-of-body experiences as they were experiencing like a clinical death. I didn't want to be there, So I tried to move my limbs or something because at the time I also sort of entertained the idea that maybe I was still asleep and that was a dream, So in order to kind of shake off this experience that was slightly frightening me, I tried to, move my arm or move my leg. However, I couldn't, I couldn't blink, I couldn't move a finger, I just couldn't do anything, which then frightened me even further, obviously. And I didn't want to be there, So I gathered all the energy that I had inside me. It's kind of hard to describe that, but I sort of went like this and jerked my body, and as I jerked my body, or like just before, I kind of slammed back into myself, so to speak, and literally like levitated off the bed, and in that jerk, my whole body kind of jumped up, and that was it, so I got, was left sort of pondering about the whole experience and what it was and whether I was dying or, I had a mini heart attack or something like that. Spoke to obviously my husband when he woke up. I spoke to several of our friends that were holidaying with us. I even spoke to friends that are doctors, and they all sort of, nobody really had a exact answer to what happened to me, They all contemplated the same as me, as whether I, was experiencing some sort of mini death at the time, and my soul left my body, or my energy departed the vessel, so to speak, Yes, he did, even though he had no explanation to it, he did believe me. I mean, we were both quite open to alternative things, so nobody was like stuck in this skepticism too much. However, as I said, nobody had a clear explanation for me, and for me being Capricorn and being like pretty much a skeptic myself until something is proven to me to believe, was also left kind of unanswered to an extent, It's just an experience that I had, that I don't have an exact answer to what it happened, but I know that it happened, and I'm very much sort of sure that it wasn't a dream, even though I was, thinking about it while it was happening. Absolutely, yeah. It was like I was in the corner, in the corner of the room, just underneath the ceiling, kind of like a camera, really. I was like being this that I'm looking into at the moment, It's like camera looking back onto myself and my husband. Well, my second experience is what kind of confirms that my first experience was true and it wasn't a dream or something that like I invented in any other way. And it happened to me while I was giving birth to my daughter. I had a very, very hard sort of birthing experience. She was a posterior birth, which has been described as the hardest birth and the most painful for a mother, and very laborious for a child. So we were in the middle of that sort of going on, and I was going through so much pain, you know, obviously screaming and doing everything that most women giving birth do, you know. And then at one point, rather than having like similar to the first experience where I like stretched out of my body and was aware of every sort of moment of it, I guess because I was in so much pain, you know, the experience was a little bit more muffled. But I remember kind of observing everything that was going on from about, like, as if I was lying lying down, kind of from this point of view, looking at the, you know, at the midwives working around me and myself, you know, kind of hovering above my head, you know. And I was in so much pain, I didn't really have time to think about what was going on or anything. But I remember at that point in time hearing this sort of scream or something, or like continuous screaming, I should say, that was really high frequency, nearly like something that a human ear wouldn't be able to hear. Kind of like a whale song, I guess it reminded me the most of. You know, I was sort of hovering over my head thinking, wow, who is screaming like that? That's really strange. Like this song, nearly like, you know, this well, it's not even high frequency, it's like beyond normal sound to humans, you know, sort of sound. And I was wondering who that was, and then I realized, I sort of pulled back into myself energetically, so I wasn't observing myself or the situation from up above anymore, but kind of slid back into my body, and realized that that sound that I was hearing was actually me screaming, you know, screaming on the birthing table. No, I wasn't frightened. I don't think I had time to be frightened, you know, because I think I was in so much physical pain that kind of nothing else is, you know, levels that, you know, you're just in the pain and that's it, you know. I didn't have time to like consciously think or rationally about, you know, what was going on. The only really thing I wanted is to get that baby out of me, so I didn't really, you know, have time to be concentrating on my experience. It was nearly like it was physically so painful that my spirit or energy or whatever it is decided to like run away from the pain or the body that was like being in pain, to in order to deal with it, you know, in order to, I don't know, I mean, I don't know what happens beyond like a certain level of pain. People probably either die or go mad. Now, retrospectively looking at it, I feel that maybe, you know, there is a truth to the astral projection and the fact that like some people are capable of, or maybe we all are, but, you know, our fear stops us, or some other, you know, influences, to leave, you know, to leave the body and go traveling as a energy rather than, you know, within this vessel, so to speak. I don't believe that either of those, well, I would choose not to believe that either of those two times I was actually dying or anything like that, even though highly possible. But nobody noticed, obviously, especially not in the second occasion, you know, when I was like surrounded with medical staff. I would like us to grow a little bit more of a community, you know, sort of love and vibe and support and, you know, whatever. So if somebody does have like different points of view, we don't ostracize them and think, you know, sort of label them in any way, but maybe to be a little bit more open, and even if you don't necessarily agree with their, you know, beliefs, is to accept them the way they are and so forth, you know. And I obviously am hoping to, you know, for somehow for us to also create a global environment where people don't have to, you know, sort of be a part of the rat race and kind of, you know, concentrate on to just survival or creating wealth, you know. It would be nice to kind of get back to the basics a bit and love and share, I guess.